Alright guys, good evening. It is now 9:15 p.m. on 1/24/17, 9:14 p.m. New York time. And I posted a video about 2.5 hours ago, prior to the Aussie news coming out. So that should be up on the channel now. And I just want to make a follow-up because the Aussie news did come out, and it was negative as anticipated by the chart patterns. As you can see, they were expecting a flat reading of 0.7% on the CPI number. It came in at a worse than expected 0.5%. I mean, it's still positive, but it's lower than expected. And we came in with a trim CPI, which is basically the core CPI, at 0.4. They were expecting at 0.5. So it was worse than expected. And so if we look here at these pairs, so here's the Aussie Swiss. So this is where, and I did get into these trades, by the way, on my other account. This point right here is where the news came out, this candle. And as you can see, it immediately plunged. So this probably is looking like an ABC now. Right, this is an ABC. If this really is an ABC, then this A and C are usually about the same length. So this A is about 100 pips, which means the C would probably be about 100 pips too, which would take us down to about the 75 area or so. So I'm going to leave that running for the night, and we'll look at it early tomorrow morning. Okay, the Aussie dollar, I also got into that, and again, I took the trade just before the news came out, and I don't know if I covered this in the last video. I think I was going to, and then I edited it out. So yeah, so this is again, I took this on my real account. I basically just used this account for analysis. But anyways, if you look at this, you know, this looks to me like an ending diagonal. If we zoom out a little bit here, 1 2 3 4 5, you know, we have this rising wedge. In the Elliott wave world, this is, you know, basically could be a what we call an ending diagonal, which is an ending pattern, and it can be pretty violent too. You know, we have closed below this trend line pretty exclusively. We are pulling back a little bit now. I would expect that we probably will see this retrace probably right back to this trend line again, and then continue on down. And usually with, as I mentioned in the last video, these ending diagonals usually retrace at least back to the origin of the pattern, which in this case would be right here. So from, you know, say from this high to here is about 112 pips. So I would expect that we'd see this go back to at least this area, maybe down to here, because this is really the end of the wave 4. And so we'll see. All right, but I'm in that one too. And lastly, I also took a long in the Euro Aussie. So let's go look at the Euro Aussie. And here we are here, and again looking pretty much the same. Now, as I also mentioned in the last video, I had this labeled as a wave 5. 1 2 3 4, and then down for 5. I'm still not convinced that this is not a wave 5, that we just might be in a wave C of 4, A, B, C, up for, and then we'll turn around and go back down. So although this 5 probably would need to be moved up here a little bit, I'm not convinced that this downtrend is over. Again, I look at this as a 1 2, we had a nice long 3 here, and now we're going up for 4, and then we'll eventually turn back down. Okay, so again on this one, I will be a little cautious on how long I hold this. Let's say this was wave A, and then we had down for B here. That's about 200 pips. All right, let me label that so you can see what I'm talking about. So A, B, and then up for C. And we'll change the color of that since it's the same color as the motive wave labels. Whatever, we'll pick something. There you go, nice purple. So ABC. So if this really is, so whether this is a 1, 2, 3 or whether this is an ABC, either way this is going up more, and I will be watching it. So if this is the start of wave C, what did we say this was? 200 pips over here. Yeah, we'll call it 200. So if this is the wave C, starts here, 200 takes us up to around the 143.18 area. So somewhere just about around this wave 5 symbol here. And we'll put it exactly there. What did I say? 143.18. So I would expect that this would go back to at least this area before either continuing up. If this is a 3, it'll blow right past here. If this is a wave C, then it'll get to around this area, and then we'd expect it to turn back down again, okay, to finish this bigger pattern of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so again, although I'm long this pair, I'm not expecting that this is going to continue up for an extended period of time. The CCI also suggests that when we made this low right here, the CCI also made a new low. So that suggests that, you know, we don't have divergence in place yet, and then so that this move up is just a correction. Let's see here. You know, so but this was, you know, down on the 2-hour chart. CCI is compressed going up. We can go down to the 1 hour, and you can see this little end, see how it's compressed going up. So this is a strong up move, and then you see this little, what we call a flag on a flagpole. And I'm trying to get the best view of it for you. So this is, you know, so which suggests when it turns down like that and spreads apart, that's just simply a correction. That's this little candle here, and that it will continue up some more. So again, my initial target on this will be somewhere up around this area, this 143.18 area or so. Okay, and then at that point, if I'm still in the trade at that point, I'll probably be looking to lock in my profits, move my stop up really close, and if it keeps going, great, I'll let it ride. If not, then I'll exit at that point and maybe look to go short for wave 5. Okay, so again, just you know, this one also points out again the importance of knowing what the larger trend is, and you know, so we got a negative print on the news, but the larger trend still says that this is in a downtrend, and you have to respect that. I mean, unless if this went up and, you know, took out this price action in here and blew past here, then I'd say, you know, then this is going. But as long as it stays, one of the cardinal Elliott wave rules, it's one of the 3 really hard and fast rules, is that wave 4 does not enter into the price area of wave 1. So if this was 1 right here, from here to here, this was the wave 1, we just can't see this price action getting up into this area. Okay, if it does, that's a breaking of the rule, and then at that point you'd have to assume that we're in a new uptrend. Okay, but you can see we're nowhere near that right now, and this target right here is still well before this. Okay, because I mean, this is a 12-hour chart, so there's a lot of pips in there. So I mean, we'd have to go another 112 pips from here, and I don't think it's going to go that far. Okay, so again, I am long this pair. I'm going to stay long, but I'm going to probably look to either exit or at least lock in profits once we get up to about this area. Okay, so again, guys, just wanted to make this a follow-up to the one I made earlier this evening before the news came out, and just to show you again that the patterns did indeed play out for what I was expecting, even though there was a little bit of conflict. But I did take the trades because I felt pretty confident, and as you can see right now, they're working out, and I would expect that these moves will continue overnight and into at least the early London session tomorrow. And I'm just curious what the pound Aussie did. I assume this went up too. And it did. So here's the pound Aussie, and again, I was talking about this was talking about this as being an ending diagonal. Okay, and at this point with the news, I'm not sure this could be negated now. But again, I'm not expecting this is going to keep going up. The Aussie, I think, it is very resilient. I think the market, the Aussie, will eventually shake off that negative news, and we'll see it start to go back up again after a further correction. So I mentioned throw over. This could just be a throw over. It's a pretty big one, but this could just be throw over to this trend. And actually, if we extend and connect this high, which is probably more accurate, this throw over doesn't look nearly as ominous as it did a minute ago. Because I just connected these highs, and that's more accurate anyway. So we'll see what happens from here. Like I said, I'm not ready to short the British pound on any of these pairs right now, but I am watching this pattern to see what happens on the Aussie. But for now, with the negative Aussie news, the pound Aussie has moved to the upside. But again, I don't think this will be sustained all that long. So, all right, because again, although the news was negative, it's red. It was worse than expected. It's not like these are negative. I mean, they were expecting 0.7%. If this had come in like minus 0.5%, then that would be huge. If these numbers were actually negative, and I don't mean negative red, I mean actually with a negative sign here, that would be much more substantial, and we'd see the Aussie really selling off. But they were negative, but not terribly negative, so there will be a reaction as you've seen, but I don't think it'll be sustained or very long. And I think that's bearing out on the charts. So I will be watching these three trades that I'm in, and I'll be looking to get out as soon as there's any hint that those trends might be running out of steam, which I believe probably will happen sooner rather than later. And just a quick thing, I'm not going to get into it because I haven't even looked at these. The next piece of news I'm going to be looking at is tomorrow, 4:45 p.m. New York time, is the Kiwi CPI. Again, just as important as the Aussie CPI. And they're expecting a slightly better improvement, so I'll be looking at the Kiwi pairs tomorrow, heading into that news. Crude oil inventories for the dollar, they show as red. I honestly really don't trade that unless it's some just really off-the-wall number. This doesn't really have much impact, although they show it as red. And this German IFO business climate for the euro, again, they show it as red. I'm not really expecting that that's going to do anything. Again, they're not expecting much change unless this number came in completely off the wall. This probably won't have any effect, even though they show it as red level news. So then to me, the next important piece of risk event will be this Kiwi CPI tomorrow afternoon, New York time. And this one could be big, and again, like the Aussie, this can really move the Kiwi, especially if the number comes in substantially different than what they're expecting. So keep an eye on that, and maybe I'll post a video tomorrow afternoon on the Kiwi news. So all right, so if not, then maybe I'll post one after the news comes out, but I'd like to get one up before that. So all right guys, so that's it. Any questions, let me know, and thanks for watching.